There's a big shaila whether you should make a shechiyonu, because we actually 2 years ago made a tova meitiv. So I bought a cheap suit, it's new, but it gives me a lot of excitement. So I'm going to make a shechiyonu on the suit, but also that $500,000 building or something like that, that the annex, I think that's also going to be included as well. So please, if you want to make I'm going to make the bracha, and we're going to answer Amen with tremendous kavanah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, shechiyonu v'kiyamanu v'hiyanu lazman hazeh. Rabbi Pesach Krohn tells a story of Dr. Chaim Leibowitz, a graduate of Harvard, who learned under Rav Noach Weinberg and practiced medicine in Yerushalayim and in Boston, where he was the senior resident in charge of the emergency room. One afternoon, he was making his rounds, and there was a code blue, and a woman had suffered a severe heart attack in the cafeteria. He took his equipment, he ran upstairs, only to find that the other doctors who had tried thought it was too late. They had worked on her for a while and couldn't get her heart to start. Dr. Leibowitz tried several times to shock her back to normal rhythm. The other began to leave, disappointed that a patient had died right before them. Dr. Leibowitz did not give up. After a fifth and sixth unsuccessful try, he realized the end was near, but he would try one more time. He pressed the control button, looked at the cardiac monitor with great emphasis. A razor-thin line had darted upwards. There was life. He had a heartbeat. Infused with hope and determination, he worked hard until he managed to stimulate the feeble pulse. He then ordered the medics to take her to the ICU. He kept calling for an update, and 6 hours later, he was told the good news that she was being allowed to sit up in the bed. She wasn't his patient, so Dr. Leibowitz wondered if he should go visit her. Then he realized her name was Kelly. Not her real name, but she was not Jewish. His name, Leibowitz, was unmistakably Jewish. If he would visit her, it would be a Kiddush Hashem. So he went and he visited her. As he walked to her room, he wondered how to introduce himself. When he got there, he didn't need to introduce himself because the man sitting next to her called out, "He's the one who saved your life. That's the one I've been telling you about." "And who are you?" Dr. Leibowitz said. "I'm her husband, and I saw how hard you worked to save my wife's life." "Where were you?" Dr. Leibowitz asked. He explained that he had been whisked out of the room and he had watched from behind a glass wall. Meanwhile, this woman began to cry uncontrollably. When she composed herself, she spoke softly and said words that Dr. Leibowitz would never forget. "What do I say? Thank you?" That's what you say to someone who holds the door open, not to someone who has just given back your life. "But I will tell you this, when I go home and see my children, I will remember you and say, 'Thank you, Dr. Leibowitz.' In a week from now, when I go on a walk with my husband, I will think of you and say, 'Thank you, Dr. Leibowitz.' The next time I go out with my friends, I will say, 'Thank you, Dr. Leibowitz.' And the next time I have a birthday, I will remember you and say, 'Thank you, Dr. Leibowitz.'" He was indeed very moved. When Dr. Leibowitz left the room, he walked out into the hospital corridor and said to no one and to everyone, "When I go home and see my wife and family, I'm going to say, 'Thank you, Hashem.' And the next time I daven and feel connected to God, I will remember and say, 'Thank you, Rav Noach Weinberg.' And the next time I walk up the stairs and don't get out of breath, I will say, 'Thank you, Hashem.'" How does one mark a Chanukah Sabayis? So many people to thank. Of course, Hakol Adon Kol, we thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we thank the so many generous people whose names only partially were mentioned by Rabbi Lebhar. And we thank all the incredibly hard-working people in our institution. But here's what I want to just, for a moment, think about with you. Because every time a Jew walks in and finds a makom menucha, an oasis, we thank you. And every time a child feels more connected because they feel the gishmak of Torah with a little bit of bribe, a Munchie's $5 card, we say thank you. And every time a millionaire comes for Nate's and Nescafe, we say thank you. And every time an Avil gets off the plane to catch the latest Myra west of the Mississippi, we say thank you. And every Rashi, Tosfos, Reb Chaim, or in deference to some of the Chevra Achida, that our Avreichim are learning, and Mam is stretching themselves, we say thank you. And every time somebody comes to one of the 10 or 11 daily minyanim that are properly paced in a rush, much to the chagrin of some, we say thank you. And every uplifting Shalosh Shuddis, and every Rabbi Stern Chavrusa that Mamish changes lives, and every Rabbi Lebhar, Yorucha, Chabura, or Smichas Chaver, or Rabbi Nedavud, 11:35 p.m. Halacha Shir, that's the latest in the continental United States without a question. Every Torah learning for the young children between 4th and 8th grade. And now TLC and Link Sem, which now have a beautiful space, a social and seminary space, which is not yet named in case you're wondering. Because we care about the future matriarchs of Klal Yisrael. And YPLA, that beautiful post-high school program that was started by Jill Kahn and run with such wisdom by Rabbi Heller. And every Rabbi Weinstock uplifting shmooze, and a pumping night seder, and a Shever Brachas, and a Shabbos afternoon learning. Thank you, and thank you. This building bears the Samuel name. We are very proud of that. Galina and Joe come from Munkach. There's a lot of history in Munkach. And they come from holy roots. And their children are deeply connected. They both married Jessicas, different Jessicas. And their children, and their children's children, feel a connection. Joe and Galina are Balei Chesed, and they have transmitted to the Doros. It wasn't so simple when they came to this country. It wasn't so simple, Rabbi Gunnar said in a wry comment. For them, the sidewalk would have been a step up. They pushed themselves, they built themselves, and they ooze chesed, and they have an open table, and they have a love of Torah, real, authentic Torah. And Stephen and Jessica, you are our partners in Kedusha. And in Yirtzeh Hashem, your children will be active participants. Aiden, Benjamin, and Ruby, you will see the palace of Torah that bears the family name. And you will, Be'ezras Hashem, you will learn from it and learn in it. My mother and father, who could not be here, and my mother has a vart that she says many times, and I want to end with this. This gorgeous and well-used building, it's been in use for over 2 years, is a reflection of heart. A bias in Gematria is 412, and a Migdash in Gematria is 444. The difference is 32, the difference is Leiv. When you infuse Leiv into the bias, you have a place of Kedusha. When you infuse Lev into the bayis, you have Kedusha. This building is built with Lev, and it's built with Mesiras Nefesh, and it's built with Gevura and strength. The last few years have been challenging for the Samuel family. And time again, they have come through in a magnificent way. And we are greatly indebted. Mizmor Shir Anukas Habayis LeDavid. The life of a Jew can be a song to the king or a kvetch to the king, a zemer to the maestro or a wine to the divine. It is the choice of each and every one of us when we go through our challenges to figure out how to turn them into leman yizamercha chavod v'lo yidom. Hashem Elokai le'olam odeka. We asked Stephen to come up on behalf of the family. We asked Rabbi Weinstock, Rabbi Lebar to please come up. I want to share with you a token of our appreciation, and he'll share with us some divrei Torah.
To Stephen and Jessica Samuel in recognition of their monumental sponsorship for construction of the majestic new Link building presented at the Link building dedication, 24th, which is now the 25th of Elul, 5783, September 10th, 2023. Depends where you look at which side you look at it. You could say, see the bracha of the Kahanim, Yivarechecha Hashem v'Yishmerecha, and then you look the other angle, you'll see the Kaisel, I think.